Written by Alexis de Tocqueville in 1835 and 1840, Democracy in America is a comprehensive and insightful analysis of the American political system, its society, and its culture. Tocqueville, a French aristocrat, traveled to the United States to study its penitentiary system, but found himself captivated by the country's unique social and political structures. His observations culminated in 2 volumes of what is now regarded as one of the most important works of political science. The book analyzes the development and consequences of democracy, the tension between individualism and equality, the concept of liberty, and the formation of American civic associations, offering a critical examination of the potential pitfalls of democracy. This summary explores the key themes of Tocqueville's work, drawing attention to his prescient observations about the American experiment in democracy. Democracy and equality. One of the central themes in Democracy in America is the concept of equality. Tocqueville observed that the United States was founded on principles of equality, particularly in terms of the potential for social mobility. In Europe, aristocracy and class were deeply entrenched, and social mobility was limited. In America, however, land distribution, political structures, and societal values allowed for greater equality, and this was something Tocqueville found especially remarkable. He noted that this commitment to equality led to a relatively flat social structure, where people did not experience the same rigid class distinctions that were commonplace in Europe. This, however, also had its drawbacks. While the push for equality fostered an environment of social mobility, it also created a uniformity of thought. Tocqueville warned that such equality could lead to a tyranny of the majority, where individuals, in their pursuit of common interests, could suppress minority views and individual freedom. This concept of equality, according to Tocqueville, was central to the workings of American democracy. The egalitarian society in the United States led to an atmosphere of individualism, where personal success and independence were highly valued. However, Tocqueville argued that too much individualism could be dangerous for democracy because it might encourage people to prioritize personal interests over the common good. Tyranny. Tocqueville's notion of the tyranny of the majority is perhaps one of the most enduring concepts in his analysis of democracy. While he lauded the political freedoms that came with democratic government, he worried that a majority could impose its will on the minority to such an extent that individual liberties would be endangered. In democratic systems, public opinion is paramount, and the majority often holds a great deal of power in shaping laws and policies. Tocqueville feared that this could create a scenario where minority views were disregarded or even actively suppressed. He argued that the majority, in their efforts to maintain their political control, might erode the rights of those who did not share their opinions, interests, or social status. This threat, according to Tocqueville, was not just a matter of political oppression, but a cultural shift toward the devaluation of alternative ideas. Tocqueville's fears about the tyranny of the majority were not just theoretical. He pointed to certain aspects of American life, such as the widespread practice of slavery, which persisted in southern states despite the democratic ideals of equality espoused by the nation's founding principles. The majority of Americans, particularly in the South, endorsed the system of slavery, and despite arguments against it, it remained a deeply entrenched institution for decades. The role of religion in democracy. Tocqueville also explored the role of religion in American democracy. In many European societies, religious institutions were often at odds with democratic movements, either by supporting monarchy or by restricting civil rights in the name of religion. In contrast, Tocqueville observed that religion in America was generally compatible with democratic values. He pointed out that Americans were highly religious, but their faith did not interfere with democratic participation. Rather, it provided a moral foundation for their sense of duty, both toward each other and toward the state. According to Tocqueville, American religious institutions encouraged individual responsibility while fostering a sense of collective duty, which in turn contributed to social cohesion. While religion in America did not possess the same political power that it did in Europe, it played a crucial role in shaping the moral framework of American society. Tocqueville admired how American religion encouraged volunteerism, charity, and an understanding of civic responsibility, elements that were vital to the functioning of democracy. However, Tocqueville also noted that the individualistic nature of American religion posed certain risks. In a country where people were free to practice religion as they saw fit, there was a danger of fragmentation and the loss of a shared communal moral foundation. This could lead to a weakening of social bonds, leaving individuals isolated from each other. Importance of associations. Another key theme in Democracy in America is the role of associations and civil society in preserving democracy. Tocqueville was struck by the widespread formation of voluntary associations in America, from political groups to social clubs to charitable organizations. These associations, according to Tocqueville, were essential to the preservation of democratic ideals because they allowed people to work together for common goals outside the realm of government. In Europe, most forms of collective action were either controlled or discouraged by the state or the church. In America, however, citizens were free to organize themselves and advocate for causes that mattered to them. These associations not only facilitated the exchange of ideas and the pursuit of individual and collective interests, but also served as a counterbalance to the power of the state and the potential tyranny of the majority. By organizing in such ways, Americans ensured that power remained decentralized and that citizens had a voice in shaping their society. Tocqueville argued that the vitality of these associations was a key indicator of the strength of American democracy. He feared that, without such a robust network of voluntary groups, democracy would become more centralized and prone to government overreach. The impact of individualism. Tocqueville's analysis of individualism is another hallmark of his work. He observed that in the United States, individualism was a defining feature of society. The egalitarian ethos, coupled with a focus on personal freedom, led Americans to prioritize self-reliance and independence over collective interests. While this was seen as a positive quality in many respects, encouraging entrepreneurship, personal responsibility, and civic engagement, Tocqueville feared it could have negative consequences for democracy. He argued that excessive individualism could lead to social isolation and a breakdown of social bonds. In such a society, people might become indifferent to the welfare of others and disengage from civic responsibilities. This could, in turn, weaken the moral foundation of democracy and increase the potential for the state to exert control over its citizens. Tocqueville was especially concerned with the role of individualism in undermining civic engagement. He feared that as Americans became more focused on personal success and self-interest, they would become less willing to participate in the public sphere and contribute to the common good. This could create a vacuum in which centralized government and the majority could dominate, suppressing the rights and freedoms of individuals. Democracy in America remains a timeless work that provides a profound analysis of the strengths and weaknesses of democratic societies. Alexis de Tocqueville's exploration of the relationship between equality, liberty, individualism, and social cohesion continues to offer valuable insights into the challenges faced by democratic nations. While Tocqueville admired the democratic experiment in America, he recognized that democracy was not without its dangers. His warnings about the tyranny of the majority, the perils of excessive individualism, and the importance of voluntary associations remain relevant today. Tocqueville's work continues to serve as a critical tool for understanding the dynamics of democracy, highlighting both its potential and its vulnerabilities in ways that are still applicable to modern political discourse.